Oh my god, I have thoughts again. I'm thinking I haven't been on TikTok for a while. Like I deleted the app because it overstimulates me. Then I got back again this week today. I've been deleting it on and off this entire weekend until eventually I started scrolling because I was just posting as and does. I was like, oh, let me just post because once you start posting, partner, you just get sucked in anyway. What I'm thinking about, okay, so naturally, because I was on TikTok, there's a lot of opinions, hot takes is abound, and all of that. And I also have some of my opinions that I think I feel a lot, it's a lot more safer to share it in the space than it would be to share it on TikTok because it can go anyway, fine. But what I've been thinking about is the fact that you can't, and hear me well, you can't study a way out of systematic oppression. You can't pray your way out of systematic oppression. You can't manifest your way out of systematic oppression, right? And a little backstory about myself is that I worked in South Africa. I'm South African. And shortly after I got my degree, after a year, I graduated during the COVID year. And then shortly after a year, I got a job working for the government, which was minimum wage, minimumist of the minimumist. In fact, we as the interns even had to negotiate, well, guys, how are we earning imali internship that's still the same as interns who were here 5 years ago when the standard of living has changed? And so we got that little nyana increase in our salary. And because I knew about primarily because I had family members who had worked for government and it wasn't like sustainable, they were on contract, and we know how corrupt it is, which also factors into this conversation. We know how corrupt our public institutions are, whether departments or whatever. Like, you have to buy your way into a job, its connections and all of that. So naturally I was like, you know what, in order for me to live the kind of life that I want, and also because I had just curiosity about traveling, I just wanted to move abroad and teach in Korea, which I'm still here. And so I moved to Korea for about 2 years, and I was like, okay, now that it's 2 years, I want to go back home, start a life, right? I was promised, like, it's the land of the free, let me go home. And see, goes on, and so I went back home, and I planned 3 months, my first. Then I was just like, so I went back home, then I traveled for a few months because I was just like, I don't know if I can stay here. And primarily one of the reasons why, as much as I did want to go home and I had planned that I wanted to travel, as soon as I got here, there was this just stark reality between the life that I was living abroad, as in a first world country such as Korea. It's developed, there's efficient transport systems, things are just efficient, there's efficiency in everything, like there's processes, and it's efficiency, you know, whether it's transport system, like I'm saying, it's safe, it isn't just right, you understand? So I think going back home, and especially going to a rural community in a small town that hasn't been developed since nothing has changed. The only development is shopping centers, and that's what they call development. I was like, okay, so let me just escape my problems and let me travel. I'm young, I'm wild and free. And so I traveled, and then I came back. I was like, okay, fine, must be like higher. Let's see what can click. It took nothing more than 2 months for me to realize, as a seven to do, I'm trying to apply, there aren't any jobs. It's just very disheartening, even in our own communities, in our black communities, in Kwasas Lalin. But it was just even seeing. And I think also with the privilege of being able to travel abroad, you get a sense of what things should be like rather than what I want to. And so I realized, and as someone who studied a degree in public management, I did politics, I think those are things that I was drawn to, like public servantship, but it's sort of like I have a basic understanding of what it means to be a public servant, and just the servitude of our black communities, or just communities in general, and what's expected of the government and all of those things. And I went into that degree by mistake, but I also did fall in love with it because I'd wanted to do politics anyway. So I did politics in just a different form. And I'm someone who'd always been like, oh, we need to fight, like the revolution, like we need to change. And oh my God, you know, I was optimistic going to varsity thinking I can change the world. So it was very disheartening for me to go back home after traveling as a means of escape, because I was like, oh, wait, it's scary in here. Let me travel, let me go squander my money, which was not a good financial decision, but I'm here, I'm still alive. I have lessons from it, I have memories, right? But eventually, it was just very disheartening to be at a home and realize, fuck, I find it, like in the words of Utandi Swan, I hate to always quote her, but I find it like, what the fuck is going on? Like, also because once you leave home, and when you've been away from home for a long time, you you have a distorted memory of what home was like. And so I had like a level of optimism about going home, because it felt like, yes, the grass is going to be greener. Because as much as we are living abroad, it's not as romanticized. It's lonely, you're alone, you're the only black person in a lot of spaces. We don't even study for those damn degrees for the majority of us. Which is also going to lead me to my point. Which my point is, the decision for me to come back to South Korea at the beginning of this year, even though I had other plans for my life, I thought I'd go home and I'd be able to find a job. I mean, I had already had interned, surely it shouldn't be that hard, was a decision made out of survival rather than it was like, oh, that bug that once bit for travel, whatever. And I see it reflected a lot within our peers. And if you're in South Korea, if you're teaching abroad, you're welcome to comment. But I see it reflected a lot where now it's no longer what was once sold and appealed to us as young people fresh out of varsity is no longer that. Gogu, it's a sense of survival. It's a matter of survival. It's a matter of, listen, I can't make it here. Let me go back there. At least I know better the devil I know. And so I find that a lot of people in here, even me, like working for a private academy, like when it's hiring season, if like they're hiring the teacher, a lot of the applicants are South Africans, and a lot of the applicants are South Africans that are not necessarily qualified in teaching, but it's because the grass on the other side is barren. There's nothing. And so for me, my personal journey, because I had so much expectation for myself, I had a level of optimism. One can dare say that I was naive. I felt like I had personally failed. How can I go back to a place that I once proclaimed I could never go back to, because I'm going home and I'm going to do this? And it took conversations with myself and the people around me for me to be like, you know what? I feel like this is more of a systematic failure than it is a personal failure. I didn't fail. It's the reality that the people that we have put in power in South Africa, they're failing us, and they're failing us bad. Because now I'm just looking at, what was my point of this conversation? I don't know. I'm just really rattled up because I was watching a lot of these videos on TikTok, and it's really making me so upset to think this is where we are, and to think that, and I so many times we think a personal win, how do I put this? What matters more is kasi sonke than it is uba, oh, but it worked out for me, which is a lot of the rhetoric that people have. And one may they say, oh, but I went home and I built a house and then I got, and it's like, we're so happy for you. We're so happy that it worked for you, but it's not a reflection of the broader, like the broader whatever. So I think I'm just really disheartened, and I'm sitting here because this is something that I was internalizing, and I wasn't honest with it, especially when I was like, oh guys, I feel like I failed. And I think things are already hard in this world, but they even harder when you are black and you're from a lower class family and you are a woman. Like, those are just factors that you have to consider, and it's almost like the system was designed for you not to make it through. Like, the chances are so slim. They are so slim, but you'll slip through. And so when you find it, maybe that is a takeaway, I don't know. It's just really disheartening. But yeah, when you find yourself in situations where you feel like your life is not going the way you thought it would go, where you feel like, oh, I should be here, I should be doing it, and we fall victim to that, especially as young people who are growing up around social media. I just need you to take a moment to reflect and remember that certain things are not as a result of personal failure. It's not because you didn't pray hard enough, or that you didn't manifest hard enough, or you should have gone in this. Like, there are master's graduates. I met a girl when I was returning home to South Africa who had her a master's degree in something like, it was a STEM degree, and yet she was still here teaching in Korea because things are so fucked up back home. And it's honestly just so disheartening as a young person to zoom out, and I think about this a lot when I'm in conversation with my friend, right? Like, and whatever. And there's almost that sense of shit, like, I really can't go home in a way that I have for many things. Like, I've quit a lot of things, and I'm like, fuck it, I have a home to go back to or whatever. I don't know if it's growing older or what, but there's a level of realization about, it's kind of like there is no home to go to. And I think it's a layered conversation, because I think this is also a conversation that is, it's very nuanced, and this is specific to the black community, okay? The girls and the gays, you get it. Because also, even after you get here, you'll find that there's a lot of other South Africans that, white, and they don't share similar sentiments. They don't share the same struggles. A lot of them are having their parents visit them. Like, it's not survival as much as it is for us. And I don't know. I just needed to get that off my chest in the spirit of just being free on this channel, to be like, that there's a shocking realization about like, oh my god, this is this what you promised us in the Freedom Charter? Like, you fucked up, bruh. Like, they failed us. And I know people are gonna come like, oh, but it's always of course it's always the government. Of course it's always the government, because people are paying taxes that are supposed to be job opportunities. How is it that people with master's degrees in STEM are teaching and slaving away in Korea and being treated as less than, simply because there aren't any opportunities? And it's also the realization that these are problems that, again, lower income black, I don't know, maybe I'm grasping at a lot of straws here, but I'd like to open up the conversation to other people and other foreign South Africans, even though not just limited to teaching, but just not even foreign South Africans, but just young black South Africans, as far as like, what the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on? Like, it's so disheartening. It's so disheartening, because I think a part of me, even me as someone who's gone back to school, there's a part of me that's like, what's even the point? There's kind of like there's two polar opposite sides. One is like, I went so like and I'm 17, and then there's a part of me that wants to try, because I guess there's a level of exceptionalism that I think I might possess, that for me it's gonna work out. And I think that can be, and I'm gonna say this very carefully, that can also be just as problematic when you think, no, but it's gonna work for me, but it's like, what good does it do? But it's not serving the greater community, right? What good is it if, oh, well, I get this dream job and this degree and things are gonna work out and I'm gonna get my $1 million salary, but then I go home to my community that has no running water, that has dusty ass roads, the towns are not safe for people to be there, young people are smoking drugs, they're doing drugs, they're unemployed, they're doing every single second because they have no fucking jobs. Our communities have no recreational facilities. It's just like, there go, and I don't know. I think especially I'm probably gonna listen to Tando Samazai to just radicalize me, and I'm just gonna go to sleep pissed as fuck. And I implore you to also listen to Sankofa, because it's really just, and yeah, not to make light of the situation or be like, oh, just, it, because I guess I could be posing the question, oh, guys, this is Otini, but it's not our responsibility to carry. It's not our burden to carry. The government, guys, is doing us dirty lollipops. Like, are we ever going to have a South Africa to go to, especially for expats that are back here, potentially even teaching abroad? Like, are we ever going to have a home to return to, judging by the thing? Like, like, it's also this double-edged sword, where it's like, you live in the country to get a better life, and yet you could also be home and fighting for your home, right? But you can't, because you understand. So it's just and I hope that you guys just hear me well with this. It's something that's been on my mind. I'm happy that I got it off my chest, and I'm probably just gonna upload this video as is, because, well, whatever. The worst you can do is you guys just judge me. But sincerely, from demotivated, discouraged young black South African youth, we're screwed, lollipops. We're screwed. This is not the freedom we were promised. And also, fuck the ANC. Bye.